Good evening and hello, friends, and welcome inside the Birmingham Jefferson Civic Center for this week's edition of Wendy's Inside Bulls Hockey. I'm Michael Bentz, and the Bulls just finishing up 5 games in 7 days this past week. It concluded Sunday afternoon in Lafayette, Louisiana, a 6-5 shootout loss that saw the Bulls come from behind a 5-3 deficit going into the third period, picking up 2 third-period goals, and before losing in the shootout that night, but picking up a point against the Ice Gators, a second-place team in the Southwest Division. The night before that, the Birmingham Bulls faced off with the Louisiana Ice Gators again, and there was a lot of fun and festivities right inside this BJCC. It was TGI Friday's team poster night, and the Bulls put on quite a show. The Coca-Cola Extreme team was out, giving T-shirts to all the fans, and right above us, the Wendy's concourse with the family fun zone was packed with the children. It was a lot of fun out here. The Bulls taking on the Ice Gators that night, losing 4-2 in front of the largest crowd this season of 5,009 very excited, happy people. A lot to talk about this week on this week's show. We'll have Ken Cohen joining us with Kevin Pop a little bit later for this week's Pop in the Box. We also will sit down with Rick Smith, the Bulls rookie center that centers the third line, along with Michael Ford and Scott Ray. We'll sit down with him a little bit later on, and we'll also talk with the Bulls head coach Dennis Desrosiers. We'll take a look at some of those games earlier this week. The Greenville Growl coming into town, a big victory for the Bulls, the Ice Gators games, and we'll also take a look at what's upcoming down the road for the Birmingham Bulls. We'll take a quick break. We have to step aside. We'll be back with more on Wendy's Inside Bulls Hockey. And welcome back to Wendy's Inside Bulls Hockey. And joining me now, the Bulls head coach, Dennis Desrosiers. And Dennis, I saw you skating a little bit earlier. Figured you might be a little thirsty, so I brought you some of my Big Coke here for someone.
Oh, that's okay. I can live without that right now.
You're a spicy chicken kind of guy anyway, aren't you?
Oh.
Well, Dennis, let's talk a little bit about a stretch of games we had recently. 5 games in 7 nights. A stretch that saw us play some very tough teams, Greenville Growl, Louisiana Ice Gators among them, and got off to a 500 start with it going 2-2-1. How did you feel overall with the 7-game performance?
Well, I guess there's different ways to look at it. You know, I'd like to be better than 500 against those teams, because they're the type of teams that if we're going to stay at the top of the standings and be at the top, we have to beat them. But under the circumstances of going back probably the last 3 weeks and look at what we ended up this stretch with, which was 5 and 7 nights against all tough teams, I guess you can't be too upset. I guess it could be worse. We could be 500 against a bunch of teams that were below 500. So we played good teams. We played pretty well, with the exception of one game I wasn't too happy with overall. And you know, right down to the last period in Louisiana on Sunday night, I thought that was a very good hockey period for us. So I guess overall we had a pretty good effort.
And we close out the month of November with a very solid 8-4-1 record during that month as we now move over into the month of December. So even though going 500 during a very tough stretch, a very positive month for your hockey team.
Right, and when it's all said and done, if you could take every month like that, I'm sure sight on seeing you'd grab it and run.
Exactly. Dennis, let's take a little bit. We're going to take a look at one of the contests we had during that stretch, a home game against the team with the best record in the East Coast Hockey League, the Greenville Growl. And taking a look at some of the highlights, trailing 2-0. It was your captain, Jamie Hicks, that will pick up a goal here to get us back within 1. It seems like he's been doing this all year for you.
Well, Hicks, he has. He's really off to a good start, and he's a leader. You know, guys in this league, they move up. They command financial respect. They command ice time respect, and then they have to live up to their billing. And Hicks is a guy that year after year, he lives up to his billing. He was MVP 2 years ago. He scores big goals for us. He's the captain of the team. He's a leader, and he got us on a bit of a roll right here. It's a goal that we needed. We started a little bit slow against a team that's really a good hockey team. They're fast. They're big. They got good defense. They got good goal scoring, good goaltending, and they're probably the best hockey team I've seen up to this point in this league. And so Hicksy got us off to a start that we definitely needed a goal there to make it 2-1.
And trailing 2-1 going into the second period, you'll see here it was Hugo Belanger that tied things up. And Dennis, here's a guy you've moved up with Hicks and Smakowski to play on the front line, who's been starting to score a lot more recently.
Well, Hugo, when he plays well, is one of the best hockey players in this league. I'm telling you right now, he's got a bit of a problem that he doesn't want to play hard every night. And if he did, and we're trying to get that out, or I'm trying to get that out of him, if he did, he'd be a 100-point man in this league. He'd be a force to be reckoned with. But unfortunately, he doesn't want to do that. And once we get him in the mindset to do that, I don't think there's any stopping him. He's a great, talented kid. He's a good kid. He just has to get a little more intense and play hard every night.
And you saw that goal there. It was great tic-tac-toe passing between Hicks and Belanger, allowing Belanger to score. Here it's going to be Charles Paquette of the Greenville Growl, the defenseman, giving the Greenville Growl a 3-2 lead at this point. As this play develops here, this was a part of the game where you guys had tied things up, gotten some momentum, but you talk about a Greenville, a very quick transition team.
It is, and Paquette's a defenseman there, not a great goal scorer, but our defense made a mistake on that play. We didn't close the gap on him quick enough at blue line, at our blue line, and had our defenseman, our right defenseman, stepped up there and closed the gap. He wouldn't have had anywhere to go. He bumped him, and the play was dead. We made a mistake, and it ends up in our net, and that's the type of things that will happen against the good hockey teams. If you make mistakes, they'll capitalize on it, and that's what happened, all weekend, really. We played good teams, and every time we made a mistake, they jumped on us.
But credit to Rosie's club, even down 3-2 going into the third period against a team that was 9-0 when leading after 2 periods. The Bulls were able to somehow claim victory, and it all got started first with Rick Smith tying the game up at 3, and he's been playing some solid hockey for you late.
Really has. I mean, we got probably the best grind line in the league, I think. With Smith, he scored here, and then later on he scored 3 over the weekend in Lafayette, and that's pretty good for a team that I don't really give, well, I don't give any power play time to. They kill a little bit of penalties, especially Ray on that line, but all I want out of them is I don't want them to have any pressure but work hard and give me lots of effort and lots of energy, and that's what they do. But the good news about that is the byproduct of hard work is usually goals and assists and good energy and, play well. And they've been playing outstanding for us. They do exactly what their role is, and we're getting an awful lot out of quote-unquote third line, although I don't like to do that. I call them that. But their grind line, the line that doesn't get a lot of the pressure situations as in power plays and such. And they're really producing well for us. There are 3 good young players that have got a lot of potential.
And then finally closing out the goal scoring this evening, it was Hugo Belanger getting his 2nd goal of the evening, proving to be the game winner. And this was a big goal for your club.
Really was. Another good play here by Hicks and Belanger. And as I said, Hugo's got great hands. He possesses great skill offensively. And when he's zoned in, he's really a tough player. He's a guy that'll score a goal given the opportunity. He capitalizes on other people's mistakes, and he doesn't miss too often when he gets an opportunity. He's very, very good hands up when he gets in tight on the goalie.
And there you can see the final clips of this contest. It was Scott Roach in the final minutes that had to be big for you. The 6'4" goaltender standing up tall, making some big saves at the end for you guys.
Well, our goaltending is something that I can't say a bad word about it all year. Granted, there'll be a soft goal every now and then, but that's what it's all about. But overall, we don't get it. We get outstanding goaltending. Rochi's playing most of the games, taking the burden of the minutes. But when Karunakar's we call on him, he's done a fine job. He's 3-0-1 up to this point, and he's got a great personality to be the backup goaltender. He steps in there and does a great job for us every time we call on him.
So it was a 4-3 win on this home ice here at the BJCC against the Greenville Growl, the first-place team in the Southeast Division. And that there was our featured game of the week. Fans, we need to take a quick break. We'll be back with more on Wendy's Inside Bulls Hockey.